Welcome to a new week. Now we move on to Unit 3, Week 5, and this will be the last topic of this unit. Time flies. This week's topic will be about food, so make sure you eat enough before you learn, or you will be starving when you read those yummy food from our textbook for this week. Right, so this week's topic is my personal favorite because I love eating, but I don't like cooking. However, since these days we are staying from home and we have to cook, right? And it's just so amazing to see how your final dish or plate looks so different from the ingredients that you use in the beginning, right? It's just very interesting to see that in the beginning you have flour and eggs, and in the end, what's on your plate is a cake. You don't see those white powder anymore. You don't see the egg anymore. They transformed, right? So, and since I'm a beginner of cooking, I am going to share with you what I made in the next lesson, right? I can post pictures to you. I can share my recipes with you even so you can see what I'm eating at home. And this week we are going to talk about this actually, how to make food and where do food come from. So before we do that, a little something to cheer you up. Joke of the day: what does little corn say to the mama corn? The little corn asked, "Where's popcorn?" So, okay, let's go to our today's lesson. This week we will focus on nonfiction books, but we will also, this can be a review or this can be something new to you because in the past we talked about sequence in fiction books, right? So today we will make a sequence chart to tell how we get food, and we will focus on nonfiction books. This is a chart that you're very familiar with, and we call this a sequence chart. A sequence definitely shows first, next, then, and last, right? And we use that to retell books in the past. So today we will also use this chart to see how it works. And the book that we are using today is called A Look at Breakfast. So you can go to your Wonders and open this book, right? And the title looks like this: A Look at Breakfast. So the book talks about how we get food and where breakfast foods come from, right? And you must have a definite answer. I know where it comes from. It comes from supermarket, right? But we're going farther than that. We're going to talk about where originally it comes from. So this boy is eating bread with jam, cereal, and orange juice for breakfast, right? So this book will talk about how the where the bread come from, where the jam come from, and how is orange juice being made. Okay, so we will also just read part of the book, and we will leave another part of the book for your task later. So let's talk about the first part. Bread is good for breakfast, but this isn't bread yet. By looking at the picture, I know this is not bread. It is wheat. Flour will be made from the wheat. So how is wheat made? The picture has a explanation to it. The wheat is crushed to make flour. Oh, so that's what I see. There is a tractor or machine cutting the wheat, right? It looks like this row is already cut, and the tractor is working on another row. And after the wheat is crushed by the machine, it will be made into flour. Okay, and then after we see this flour, it looks like those white powders, right? And then dough is made. So how do we make a bread from flour? First, dough is made. Next, the dough is shaped and baked. So that's what I see. Those are coming from the doughs, right? And the doughs are shaped into those long, round and long pieces, and they're baked. Then it is done. It is bread. Last, the bread is put in bags. So I can make a sequence chart based on what I read because I already see those sequence words in the book: first, next, then, and last, right? However, I want to include that step into how do we make bread because this is explaining to us how the dough is made, right? So I'm thinking that I might could delete that part, then it is done because that step didn't really tell us anything, right? So let me organize everything together and you will see my chart right here. How is bread made? So in the beginning, in the very beginning, we see wheat, right? We don't see bread, we don't see flour, but we see wheat. Wheat is crushed to make flour. So I kind of use the sentence from the book because it tells us the steps. Okay, and then the dough is made from flour, right? And then the dough is shaped and baked. And I have a picture in my mind now about all those steps. How are they like in my mind? And then after the bread is baked, it becomes bread, and bread is put in bags and they go to the supermarket and be sold, right? Okay, so from reading those the sentences, I'm making my own process in my mind and I put them into my chart. Okay, so now if you understand this part, let's continue the next page and you are going to help me write about how is jam made. Okay, so let's go on. Grape jam is good on bread, but this isn't jam yet. It is a grapevine full of grapes. So, we know that the jam can come from grapes. Grapes grow on vines and then are picked when they are ripe. So we know that, okay, before the jam is made, someone need to go to those trees or vines to pick up grapes. So let me put my first sentence here. That's the first step. Grapes are picked from where? From the vines, right? Okay. And then what's happening next? Trucks take the grapes to a plant. And here, the plant doesn't mean like the plant that you see, like a tree or bushes or those vines. The plant here means a factory. Okay, so trucks take the grapes into a plant, and you see the photo here. People are working in a plant. So a plant is like a factory. So that obviously is my second step, right? After the grapes are picked from the vines, trucks take grapes to a factory or a plant. Right? And then what's happening? And then every grape is crushed to make mush. After that, the mush is cooked. Now it is grape jam. Yum. So we know that after the grape got into the plant, people have to work on the grape. They need to crush them to make mush. Okay, so that's the next step. Grapes are crushed to make mush. And finally, those grapes need to be cooked. right? And as we see on the book, the mush is cooked. The mush is cooked to become jam. Okay, very good. So do you see that when you are reading each sentence, you can think about if this is an important step in the sequence of events, right? And now your task today is to continue with the book, and there is a third thing that is being explained. How is orange juice being made? So you're going to read this page 100 to 101, and try to make this sequence chart about how is orange juice made. Okay, so that's your first task. The second task is that after you finish with these two pages, it will be almost the end of the book. I want you to reread the book again. This book, A Look at the Breakfast, and look for the oo sounds. It can be with oo, it can be with u, right? So you can, if you are doing the recording, you can use your sentence frame to tell me the oo words I found are. So for example, a look at the breakfast. A look has oo in it, right? So look can be one of the words. So you're going to reread the whole book and see what other words you can find. If you don't want to record yourself, then you could write those words down on a paper along with the first task, and then take a picture to send it to me, right? And the third task, this is not the task that you're going to work immediately, but I want you to get prepared for it. Okay, so I want you to choose one of your favorite dishes at home. And this cannot be the frozen food, or it cannot be the bread. It has to be something that you can see from the beginning to end how it's cooked. Okay, so it has to be a homemade dish, and it has to go through steps. Step 1, step 2, first, next, then last. How is it made? I want you to watch how your parents or your grandparents or whoever at your home is making it. I want you to watch the whole process. Okay, and then you can take some notes, or you can just remember it in mind. And next lesson, we're going to talk about what we are going to do with that. All right, okay, thank you very much for watching, and go ahead and do your tasks.